sir. How you expect to be great, but your hustle don't match. Listen. I hustle overtime, attempt to push the culture forward. This that real shit, make a meal with that little gift. Everybody on a hustle, we can make a real shift. So keep your head up, youngin', and just keep on moving. And if you ain't hustling, then I don't know what you doing. The time is now. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. Yeah. I gotta write my story. No, you can't have my glory. I'm taking all that's for me.
Yes, sir, man. It's your boy Marcus Stone coming to you live from Globe Life Park. This is the Unapologetic Hustle. Man, today is a great day. It is raining outside, but we got a lot of sunshine in here in the studio. So before we get started, just know, hey, whatever you want to do, you can do. You can achieve whatever your mindset has in the dreams and aspirations. But one key thing is that the hustle has to be there. It has to be present. It's not just going to, formulate overnight. You have to put work behind whatever your dreams and your goals are, right? But we're definitely going to switch gears because, for those of you that don't know, I was in my adolescence, I was considered a gamer, right? You could catch me on the Sega Genesis and the Ataris and the arcades and so on and so forth. But that has changed over the course of the years, and gaming is something totally different now. And there is so much opportunity out there with regards to what you can do in that field, in that venture. So, man, I have a bona fide gamer in the studio with me today, and we're gonna go ahead and bring him in. So welcome to the hustle, Mr. Danny Martin of Geekletes.
Definitely. Thank you so much for being able to allow us to be able to come in and talk about esports and something that's super passionate about.
Man, so we recently met, in gaming for me, I was one of those parents that get off that game. You wasting all day long on a game. Go and do something constructive with yourself and stuff like that. But after seeing what you've been able to do and materialize, it is definitely something that is more than what I actually envision gaming being now versus what I grew up doing. So break it down. What is the gaming industry like right now?
Think about the gaming industry like the NBA when it first started. A lot of people didn't recognize the potential of the NBA. Probably if you was playing basketball and you had dreams to be in NBA,
right,
you probably got laughed at just as much because the viewership wasn't as high.
Right.
There wasn't large endorsements. There wasn't TVs. There wasn't those opportunities. So this is where esports is at right now. And we're starting to get that type of exposure that everybody has been yearning for, because now as a parent, you can say, I see that there's opportunity because I can go to Google and type in the next Ninja,
right,
the next Booga. If you win $3 million playing Fortnite, that opens the eyes of individuals now. But that wasn't the case before, right? So the parents and individuals like, you're wasting time. It's justified, right?
Right.
They didn't see the opportunity in it. There was more opportunities that were out there that someone should focus in on, and that's totally true. But it's hard to tell somebody that's really passionate about gaming, and when they're involved in it and they're seeing those opportunities.
Absolutely.
There just needs to be a catalyst, someone that has to be there to be able to speak the language of both the gamer and the parent. And right. I believe that's where Geekletes started.
Man, so, how long has Geekletes officially been around?
Man, I say about 6 years officially, upwards of 11 years unofficially.
Wow.
Yeah, and I say unofficially because in college, being able to make capital as a student athlete is intensely difficult because you have to practice, you have to get your work done.
Right.
You try to have some fun, but it's very difficult, and you need to make money.
Right.
And in this instance, going into school as an entrepreneur, and having aspirations to be an entrepreneur, you're consistently thinking about what is going to be the business. What are you going to create? If you're going through all of these classes and you're creating makeshift businesses as assignments, then you're in your mind saying, okay, which one of these is going to be real? Like what's going to work? What's going to be real? And, having that burning desire, like you told me, Brandon, these individuals are critical in my development of life. Because those were the individuals who told me the term entrepreneur, right? I was then at a young age saying, I want to be an entrepreneur, right? Just because I'm seeing them do it. And that's the word, that's a new word for me, So going into college, it was just like, I want to be an entrepreneur, that's it, let's figure this out. And for me, it was just a light bulb instantaneously. I tell individuals, it was being at a caf room table with my teammates and someone saying, I need my console fixed. And in my mind, instantly, it was like, that's a hustle, right? If I can figure out how to fix this console, then that's money. But figuring out how to was the task. Like, how the heck do you fix an Xbox or a PlayStation? These billion-dollar companies, they like, man, how do you figure that out? So just having a keen desire of wanting to figure it out, because if you figured it out, you have an opportunity to create a business around it.
Absolutely.
And so in this instance, now you have to go find a mentor. You have to find someone who can teach you how to do it.
Right.
And you have to provide value to that person. And once you provide value to that person, that individual then sees value in you and wants you to help. They want to help you get better and better at a craft without looking at it as competition.
Right.
When you're providing value, in this instance, from an example perspective, I would literally go around campus and get consoles, Xboxes and PlayStation, put them in a duffel bag, go off campus, give them to the individual Juve to fix. I would sit there and watch them fix it.
Wow.
Over time, you learn how to fix it.
On-job training.
On-job training. Internship at its best. And you do that for, a couple years, and you start to build your own business, and you get that stamp of approval from that individual saying, hey, I think I can do this on campus, and I don't have to drive 40 minutes off campus.
Right.
And, still have to go to practice and this is hard, know. And I thank you for the opportunity. And when you get that grant of approval, then you're off. You're off and you go. And I've taken some of the coolest concepts of what I've learned when you give me your console. I know who you are, how long you play, how good you are at that game.
Really?
What accolades you got at that game. And another business model in school is everybody wants to play games and compete.
Exactly.
You want to show how good you are. You want to be the best. So, having that data, I knew exactly how to market to individuals for tournaments on campus, right?
Right.
So now I'm like, all right, if I knew you had Madden in your console when it was fixed, I know you have some friends that play Madden too.
Absolutely.
So now I'm gonna tell you, I have a Madden tournament going on, in a week or so, and you tell your friends, and it happens like that,
Wow.
And now you're hosting tournaments to a point to where you're like, okay, well, I had a cheat code. I knew that data. Everybody doesn't have that data. And as an entrepreneur, you have to invest in yourself just as much. But when you're in college, you may not have that amount of money to invest in yourself, So you have to be able to figure out ways to, accomplish a task in the most efficient and resourceful way.
Absolutely.
And when you think of companies like Airbnb and Uber, what do? They created technological platforms that gives freedom to individuals, right? In that instance, it's how do you give freedom to someone who wants to get in this industry and run tournaments and succeed, not have to bump their head as hard. And I took that as an opportunity to learn how to create that process for individuals to make it easier for people to make capital in college, because I was in that same situation.
Yeah.
And that's when you started to learn about entrepreneurship and doing good in entrepreneurship.
Right.
Not just looking at money, really providing an option and an instance where individuals say, man, I now have freedom now. I can do something that I love, and I can then make money about it as well. And I think just having that core structure of Geekletes has transpired into allowing individuals to fulfill their obligations and their goals in the realm of esports.
Wow, man, that's amazing. The fact that you were a college athlete, gamer, didn't know you were an entrepreneur, but you knew you wanted to be one.
Yeah, for sure. Knew it. Yeah, definitely.
Knew you wanted to be one. But then you out of a simple conversation, just something as simple as, hey, my game is broke.
Yeah.
Light bulb went off, and now we have Geekletes.
Yeah, for sure.
That's amazing. And I speak about it all the time, is that you have to find something you're passionate about, but it also has to be a void.
Yeah.
Right? So that your passion can fill the void and, help you determine your purpose.
Yes.
Right? It's evident that your purpose is gaming and bringing
sure.
gaming to the world and everything that comes with it.
Yes.
Right? The monetary,
yes.
the fame, whatever it is to bring it to the next level.
Exactly.
And to not have those parents, hey, get off that game anymore,
sure. I know, man. I was that, not necessarily that parent, but I was that, I was that caregiver to my younger brother, where he had so much accessibility to games,
right? And
it came to the point to where I was in that same position, like, dude, get off the game. Now I'm a hypocrite, right? And I felt that same. So now I can feel a parent. I'm like,
right.
I know what that's like.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, all right, how do you put the power into the gamer?
Gotcha.
Whether they want a game professionally or whether they can use it as a segue to be the next game developer or the next coach in esports or the next analyst, a marketer, a manager, all of those things. And when you think of esports, it's an ecosystem. In order for gamers to get seen, there has to be event coordinators, which we call tournament organizers.
Gotcha.
Those tournament organizers have to manage so many different individuals to be able to put together a successful tournament, from the production to the competition aspect to just the managing and the marketing. So you have all these different career opportunities that event coordinator has to engage with. So
right.
now that event coordinator is now given jobs
to
everybody else. For the purpose of the competitor, right? So that competitor needs great opportunities to go into these tournaments to show their skill set, so they can then get picked up by larger esports organizations all around the world. So it's a symbiotic relationship.
Right. So let's dive a little deeper into that.
Yes,
so
sure.
with the aspect of that development piece, right? Because and that's basically what I'm hearing you saying, that there's a platform in development to teach people how to do these things, right? Which you would think your typical age span with gaming would span anywhere from average 12 to 35, 38, what I mean? Which
16 to 34.
16 to 34. So for a 16-year-old, so now we're talking about somebody still in high school. What does Geekletes provide, or what platforms does Geekletes have for an individual that may be interested in going down this path to be a professional gamer or developer? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's several, and being an entrepreneur, you learn on the go.
Right.
You learn off of necessity. You're like, I need this, and
right.
How do you figure this out? I can say from sheer facts for us is, I've been able to go into high schools and say, this is what I need. I need a marketer. I need a production. Do you have any AV students? Right. And I've also been able to go to schools like Townview, for example. And I'm sure individuals that may be listening to this, may have attended Townview. I can go in there and say, hey, you guys have an internship program in which you send these students off to large organizations like AT&T and so many other large. I hope to be able to tap into any of those students that you guys may have and allow them to be able to have internships at Geekletes. And to this instance where they're now experiencing coming to the facility in DeSoto, an esports arena, and then being able to leave their school at 12 o'clock, chaperone, be a student of the game inside of an esports organization from 12 to 5 o'clock, and then report what they've learned to their teacher in a form of a grade. Now it brings me back to the time that I've spent in Silicon Valley, San Francisco, where I'm in an I'm in a technological advanced startup, a tech startup, and I'm excited about being in San Francisco because that's where all tech is at, right? It's where it's at. But I'm, 20 some odd years old, and I have a 16-year-old that leaves his school to come to a tech startup, and I'm like, dude, that's dope. Like, I'm teaching you, but you were 16, you know,
Right.
like, and you're now in a tech startup that's backed by, you know, millions of dollars, right?
Wow.
So that experience in itself, I'm like, man, it has to, I have to bring it back to
Absolutely.
where we come from, you know? And to that instant let me know I got to go into the schools and start to pull talent so they can get the instance of seeing it. Because once
Right.
you see it firsthand, you now say, I want to do that. Just as much as when I seen it from my uncles, like if you have an entrepreneur, if you have a business, I'm like, I want to do that.
Right.
You know, and that's all I knew. So I knew just to go forward with it. So all I have to do is put individuals in the environment and see all of the capabilities in esports. And then once they see it, they're like, I can take gaming and turn it into a career and I can make money.
Right.
That's when it clicks, and now you have students that are very, very engaged, and to the point to right now, like even COVID, you know, as an entrepreneurship, out of sheer necessity, you know, we were engaging with schools to come into physical location, but now we don't have that. At that point for COVID, we didn't have that. We had to literally change our business model and do it all virtually, right? You know, in that instance now, it's like, how do we give it to even more students? How do we create a masterclass course to give it to as many students that we possibly can so they can still be engaged and learn all of the capabilities of esports?
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing information. For those of you just tuning in, this is the Unapologetic Hustle. I'm your host, Marcus Stone. We're coming to you live from Globe Life Park, fbrn.us. My guest today is none other than Mr. Danny Martin, CEO, founder of Geekletes. And we're just talking about how the gaming industry has changed and
Yes.
the opportunities that now exist because of gaming and individuals such as himself that are looking to continue to push the envelope with making gaming a defined career. Education, you know, we were just speaking how he actually has a structure to where kids in high school, this is curriculum that they are learning to then go and make money for themselves to be, you know, be entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And, you know, that's one of the things that this show is about. And, you know, Danny, I typically start off, and I was just so excited for you to be in the studio, man. But I typically start off by asking or presenting some words.
Yes.
And I'm gonna throw some words at you, and I want
Okay.
you to give me the first thing that comes to mind, okay?
Perfect.
Gaming.
Mhm.
What is gaming? One
Gaming
word.
is a release.
Release. All right. Legacy.
Longevity.
Hustle.
Resourcefulness.
All right. And then last word. Opportunity.
Everybody.
Absolutely. That's good. So why do you associate opportunity with everybody? What's the importance of that?
Because in time, I've learned that whether you come from the hood or you have a $1 million family, right?
Right.
You have to perform. You have to make what's due. If you have someone that has a lot of capital, you come from a fluent background, you're under the same pressures as someone who didn't have it, that
Right.
came up but didn't have it. And you find individuals who fumble the bag on both of those perspectives, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to hustle no matter what you have in your bank account. And for someone who comes from nothing, they got to compete just as hard. I've been in companies where like IBM, for example, you have individuals who, you know, they have it.
Mm-hmm.
And you find individuals who just kind of got there because of nepotism.
Right.
But then you find individuals who are there all night, just like you are, who are grinding just as hard as you are, who are probably more smarter than you are.
Right.
Right? And you're like, oh, nah, you deserve it. You know, you deserve it. And then you find individuals who just wasn't fortunate to have it. And for me, when I see that, as I've experienced myself, it's, you find individuals who just give up. They
Right.
don't care. They're just like, it is what it is. And you find individuals who have an intense hustle, right, that is unwavering, and all they need is resource.
Right.
And when you give them resource, then they change the world with it. And when I think opportunity, everybody should have opportunity. Everybody.
Definitely.
It's what you do with it.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this: with starting Geekletes and this being a passionate purpose for you, how receptive has the sports community been with regards to Geekletes, right? Because there's been gaming, they've been making money off of games, but now you're talking about tournaments and another avenue of generating, fiduciary income.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So what has that been like? What have you seen, with regards to that, the reception piece? Because it is something new, right? And it goes against the grain of what has been the norm in gaming. Has that been I wouldn't say a warm reception, but what has that been like?
It has been it was started off as cold reception, right? Because traditional sports, they looked at it as like, y'all not outside, like y'all not like, but I think it became very apparent that the core community were young and they weren't going outside.
Right.
They were gaming. So I think sports entities started thinking real business now. Right. It's like, if we don't figure out a way to merge with them, we're going to lose them, right?
Absolutely.
We're in a baseball stadium right now. If there's nobody out there playing baseball and they're playing MLB, the show,
right,
then you need to figure out a way to be able to
how to get to them,
right?
Yeah.
And now you're starting to see a plethora of sports entities reaching out. If you think about esports right now in Dallas is probably like the mecca of esports right now, and definitely it's going to happen in the United States. And as soon as it happens in the United States, it's going to triculate to the world, right?
Wow.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And the main reason why this is going to happen is that you have Texas Ranger owners that have invested in esports. You have Mark Cubans who've invested in esports. You have Jerry Jones that's invested in esports.
Wow.
Just their magnitude alone drives traffic and exposure to the industry.
Absolutely.
So now you have other owners that are looking at how they can get involved, because now they are setting the trends to say, we got there first. Mm-hmm. And when you have an entity get there first, everybody is scrambling to get in there. To get in now. So now it's more like it's inevitable that the entities, sports, get involved. And we've seen that. And, when I first got down here from San Francisco, I took a 2,000 square foot, my loft. I lived in a loft in downtown Dallas, converted it into a mini esports arena. Mm. And I did that to test our technological platform for allowing individuals to host tournaments. Very new concept for us, and we needed to create that MVP model.
Right.
So when you come in and host a tournament, we can say, hey, what does that look like? Is it good? Is it UI? Is it coding? Is there bugs? All those perspectives. I remember just going through defects mm-hmm. into the system. But ultimately, this was an environment where players get to come in and compete, right? Absolutely. In a live setting. That's typically not seen anywhere because most individuals are gaming online. And with the, for me, I wanted to focus in on, there's specific genres in esports. There's sports games, mm-hmm. there's shooter games, there's mobile games like League of Legends and Dotas,
right,
and there's fighter games like Street Fighter and Tekken. When I first got into esports, I started thinking about where do I fit in? Mm-hmm. But my mind, that was a little bit later, my mind was like, I got a skill set, so I want to just get all the genres, right. But if you don't know all the genres, then you're not authentic to the communities. And so I knew sports,
right?
But sports was a small entity of esports.
Absolutely.
League of Legends, millions of people play that game, right? And so, I was like, man, it's kind of limiting when it comes down to technology if you're just focusing on there. But ultimately, I recognized that was the most deserving. Right. Someone needed to come into that space and create an infrastructure to get more exposure.
Right.
And when doing that, now you have NBA 2K players, you have sports players that are like, thank you for giving us the platform. And when they're given the platform, now larger organizations take notice.
Right. So with that, most of those are console games.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear a lot of teams now they're doing PC.
Mm-hmm.
How does PC and console with regards to Geekletes and esports?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a variance there, or is there?
It is. There's a huge variance, and it takes it back to resources, right?
Right.
Most individuals, from a minority perspective, are trained to get the next Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah.
Right. You come to an affluent area, and they're trained to use PC. Right. So in this instance, you are already ahead of the curve when you're using a PC.
Really?
Let's think about Fortnite right now. If you compete, Fortnite is cross-platform, compatible.
Yep.
If you get into the same server with someone with a PC, you got an Xbox, you're already at a disadvantage. The frame rates, the equipment on the PC, a keyboard fast, the processor
Just
faster, speed,
wow,
graphics, everything, right? It's just better on a PC. If you have an Xbox, you having to like catch up, right? So in this instance, when you think about Fortnite, you want to make sure that everybody has the proper tools.
Right.
So in our facility, that was the number one thing for me, is just like, all right, let's use PCs for major competitions. I'd rather have all PCs on the stage and download NBA 2K or Madden, League of Legends on those PCs. So therefore, when you get to competition, you're now using you're now on a level playing field.
Wow.
And ultimately, you can then a lot of people don't know, if you're a tournament organizer and if you use PC, you can then be able to just allow your controller to plug into the PC. So now you're able to use an Xbox or a PlayStation. So
on
now
a PC.
On a PC. So now you don't necessarily have to do in a live setting. You don't have to do two different tournaments. You don't have to do an Xbox tournament or a PlayStation tournament. And you don't have to hear someone saying, I'm good on Xbox, I don't play PlayStation people, or vice versa.
Right.
So now you put them in an environment where they now have to compete.
You just bring your controller.
You just bring your controller, right?
Wow.
So now
I
you
had no
merge
idea.
it, right? So that's one of those problems that it's like, man, like how do you get everybody together, and compete? Because if you have this major tournament Xbox, you got your champion. And then you got to champion a PlayStation. Then you got to pick which console to use.
Right.
You don't have to do all of that. You can just allow it to be PC.
Bring your controller.
Bring your controller and compete. And one of the biggest things that transpired is that now we have a significant amount of individuals out of our company that has gone pro in esports, specifically the NBA 2K League, which is backed by 22 teams in the NBA. Right.
Wow.
These teams pay these players up to $32,000 per 6 months. They compete for $1.4 million per 6 months for those prospects. And just by coming into a facility like Geekletes, they're able to, one, feel what it is to compete in a live setting, because most individuals compete at home and their teammates are somewhere else.
Yeah.
And to kind of give context to NBA 2K, it's 5v5, right? Pro-Am is 5v5. You have a point guard, you have a center, you have 3 other positions that are out there,
right,
and you have to coordinate and talk and communicate. And if you're doing it online, it's dope. But when you do it in a physical location, it's even better, right? So just having that skill set allows larger esports organizations, specifically those Mavs Gamings, those Heat Check Gamings, when they're looking for talent, they're able to say, I know how you're going to perform because I've seen you compete in a live setting.
Right.
I've seen you engage with your teams. I've seen how your leadership skills are. And then I know that when I put you on that grand stage like that's out there, you're going to be able to hold yourself. And you're going to be able to also hold yourself outside of the game when it comes down to living together with the teams.
Wow.
So now you just help them take their draft stock up. And now
Right.
you're giving opportunities so they now can go and say, I am making money in the industry that I love.
Wow, man, that's amazing. Again, I'm blown away. I had no idea it was it had so many levels.
So many levels. Yeah.
But for those of you just tuning in, this is the Unapologetic Hustle. We're coming to you live from Globe Life Park on fbrn.us. For those of you watching on Facebook Live, I have my guest today, none other than Mr. Danny Martin, CEO and founder of Geekletes, and we're talking about the gaming industry. Man, it's I'm mind blown. I'm taken back, and look, I'm gonna throw it to my engineer real quick, cause what do you think, Strip?
Yeah, man, I think it's awesome. I actually share that same emotion with you, just to see me being one of those people like esports. They got a stadium for it and everything. Like, what's going on? Y'all aren't outside sweating or anything. Like,
Right.
can this be a sport? But then I'm seeing like how much fun kids are having and how much money they can win. I'm like, it's lucrative. Yeah, man.
Man, I feel like I'm missing out here.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you can take your skill sets. You can take your skill sets and apply it to esports.
Yeah.
What you're doing right now is a skill set that can be applicable to esports. I promise you.
Man, we're gonna have to talk about that offline, man. You know, I'm all about adding avenues. So
Right.
I'm all about adding avenues. So we might have to talk about that one. But real quick, we're gonna take a quick break. For those of you that are tuning in, we're gonna take a quick break. Normally I would feature one of my previous guests, Levi Jones, his new single that dropped yesterday. But we're gonna put that link in the video so that you can hear that. But we're gonna come to you with Love Nuendo and their new project, known battle rapper and artist here in the DFW. So they just dropped their new project yesterday. So we're gonna get to Revolution real quick, and we'll be right back. This has been an Unapologetic Hustle.
Say, I don't know what you doing tonight, man, but I'm going to the function. Wait, hold on, what function? Talking about the baby on Shrimp. Oh, you didn't get invited? No, I ain't get invited. No, that's okay. It probably ain't gonna be that fun anyway, yeah. Just go back inside. Don't forget, wash your hands. We can get lit like a chimney. Pulling up, listening to Pimp C. Music turned up, not finna sleep. So shawty, tell me what it's finna be. Nothing left to drink, bring some Hennessy. I've been thinking about you, what you think of me. Probably never had this opportunity. So shawty, tell me what it's finna be.
Told him I could bring a bottle so the party can jump. But keep it on the low, you can't just tell who you want. But he told her, and she told one, and she brought some. Please don't tell Trump, I think it's way too many occupants. Lick just got bottomless, y'all ain't got no common sense. Ain't this the apocalypse? Losing track of the approximate populace. But when people wanna party, ain't no way you can bottle it. Woo. Took it to the next degree, you can't doctor it. Making plays, bird a moment, call me Popovich. They gon' try to shut us down, but ain't no stopping this. Shawty waiting on a compliment. Did he bop with it, you gon' take that? No, I should've shot a shot way back. But it's now or never, I gotta face facts. It's the last days, make the days last. Yeah.
We can get lit like a chimney. Blowing up, listening to Pimp C. Music turned up, not finna sleep. So shawty, tell me what it's finna be. Nothing left to drink, bring some Hennessy. I've been thinking about you, what you think of me. Probably never had this opportunity. So shawty, tell me what it's finna be.
It's the end of the world as we know it, but it is fine. Party like it's 1999. It's the end of the world as we know it, but it is fine. Party like it's 1999.
Yeah. Heard that it's a function, I'm pulling up off the dribble. Invitation only, I hit you when you can wiggle. Please keep it low key, the block been on sizzle. Bang, you kinda slurring, you litty, I said a little. We already packed, your partner wanna get into. I pull a string like a fiddle, I'm pulling strings like Geppetto. Crunking this junk, got me dancing in the middle. Champagne in my double cup, I'm from the ghetto. I ain't tryna be your man, I'm just being a friend. Hold on, love, where you going? Shoot, you barely got in. You know they saying that the world finna come to an end. This could be the last party that you ever attend, so just tell the DJ gonna get us a spin. It's just another relay, we gon' run it again. And just get off your phone, tryna reach your time. Line, just unwind, I could ease your mind.
The end of the world as we know it, but it is fine. Party like it's 1999. It's the end of the world as we know it, but it is fine. Party since 1999. In all seriousness, stay in the house. You don't need to be going out every night. Like, use this time for your family. Have a family dinner. Watch some anime. Watch The Office. You feel me? You feel me?
Hey, yo, it's your boy, Marcus Stone, host of The Unapologetic Hustle. That was Revolution by Love Window, known battle rapper here in DFW. So that was their new track. Hey, we're coming to you from Globe Life Park, FBRN.US, and I am speaking with my special guest, Mr. Danny Martin of Geekletes, founder and CEO. And we're just talking about the path and growth of the gaming industry and where that leads and what it means to those currently in high school and the career paths that they can have afterwards. And I gotta say, it is mind-blowing to hear the different avenues that you can take and sustain a career as an entrepreneur through gaming. And I have to tip my hat off, man. What you have created, the foundation that you have set is second to none. I got to give you that. The fact that you're able to take something that you were passionate about, bring it to a school to help raise awareness in your community, to give opportunities for those that don't have as many as others, right? But at the same time, they get to learn. They get to create a business. They get to take it however far they see fit. And the fact that it's still growing is the part that amazes me even more. So I wanna take this time just to tell the people how they can reach you for one, and then if somebody that is just interested in supporting, how can a person become involved with Geekletes?
So one, it's learning about the industry. I do my best right now to teach. I mean, having an esports arena in the southern sector of Dallas is not easy.
Right.
Because there's a lack of knowledge that's there.
Yeah.
Right? The fortunate part is when someone comes to see it, they're like, whoa, I never even thought this was possible. And then afterwards it's good.
Right.
But just getting someone to see it is hard, man. It is incredibly hard and frustrating. But someone has to do it,
Absolutely.
Someone has to do it. Somebody has to get their head, knocked. I got to knock my head over a lot of times because I know the value.
Absolutely.
So just going off from Google, researching esports, seeing the largest tournaments, $2 million prize purses, or just any acquisitions, any companies that have getting funded. Thinking about like FaZe Clan from a cultural perspective. FaZe Clan just raised $40 million. Offset was one of their major investors, and they have about 6 to 7 even more artists that have invested inside of a company. Company not black owned, not African American owned, but they understand culture. Right. So as an African American company, I'm literally like, all right, I gotta be able to tap into culture. That's big. That's big.
Yeah.
So just understanding those acquisitions that are out there, understanding who the ball players are in the industry, that's your first. Just get insight. So for us, because there's a lack of insight, I'm literally positioning myself as a thought leader to give information about the industry. And I spoke on it. There's 5 core premises of esports. There's management, marketing, technology, competition, and production. I guarantee you every human soul can find fit in any of those segments and find a career opportunity for them, whether it's existing or whether they're young and they're trying to find themselves within it. So for me, I'm naturally going to be using social medias, Geekletes, to be able to say, go to Geekletes, whatever channel you're at, Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, everything. LinkedIn has been so valuable, for myself right now, because that's where people go to find opportunities from a business perspective.
Absolutely.
And, that's something that's critical. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, if you are a seasoned professional and you're looking to diversify your portfolio, reach out to me on LinkedIn, and you can see all the other individuals within the esports communities that you can ask questions to or sell your product to, right? I have a lot of development companies or AR companies that reach out to say, hey, I'm in traditional sports. how do I tap into esports, right? And I can just easily give information on what I see, a route that you can be able to go.
Right.
And so just getting a hold of me is not difficult. I try to make sure that I'm super aware of the community and what's going on, and pinpointing people into a direction to where they have to take that next step to really execute.
Absolutely.
And that's the number one thing. So easily reach out to me on those channels, all social media channels.
Man, that's great. That's great information. Again, for those that's just tuning in, this is the Unapologetic Hustle. I'm your host, Marcus Stone. We're coming to you live from Globe Life Park, fbrn.us. And I want to say, thank you for tuning in and being loyal citizens of the hustle. So my guest today is Danny Martin, the CEO and founder of Geekletes. And the gaming industry, if you have not tapped in, it is something to tap into, because this is the way of the future. And those of you, if you hadn't seen, I made a post about our show, and that's when I think it really, really hit me. People talked about years ago how the internet wasn't going to be a success, and it wouldn't be what it is today, right? And basically, the internet took us from an analog frame of thinking to a digital, right? And with that presented opportunities such as Geekletes and gaming, right? And the fact that we always hear hindsight is 20/20, but if you had the opportunity to go back and invest in the internet, or Microsoft, or Apple, or Amazon at the early stages,
for sure.
where would you be?
Yeah.
Where would you be right now?
For sure.
And just reading an article earlier this week, is projected that Amazon or Jeff Bezos would be the first trillionaire.
Yeah.
Trillionaire. Never in history has there ever been a trillionaire. He's projected to be
guess
first.
what Jeff Bezos did? Amazon invested in Twitch. $1 billion in Twitch. Twitch is a platform. Twitch.tv is a platform where gamers use as their YouTube, right? They're streaming. When we do our productions, we're streaming through Twitch.
Yeah.
Now Amazon has a significant share
In
inside
the
of
gaming
that.
industry, and it's only growing.
It's only growing.
Wow, that's that's amazing. If you have not considered gaming or finding a way to pivot and get involved in gaming, I encourage you to do so. It is not the era of stop playing. You're wasting your time. You're doing this and that.
It's past that.
No,
now.
it is disruptive. In the way that it is presenting opportunities for those that are underprivileged, as well as education. So I encourage you to get involved. Follow Geekletes on all your social platforms, and I got to tell you that my guest he puts out a lot of information, and we were speaking earlier about some of the master classes and stuff that he has already presented, along with things that he has to come. So information is there, and information is key. And if you want to succeed as an entrepreneur, or you want to achieve the dreams and aspirations that you have for yourself, you need to garner the information, right? And without it, you're stuck, right? And I always talk about the dreams and nightmares. Your nightmares is when you don't have the information, but when you arm yourself with the information, you present your dreams. You now have a direction to go forward to achieving it with that information. So make sure that you tap in however you see fit with regards to your skill set or knowledge, right? You can always get better before things get worse. So let's continue to push forward.
For sure.
Man, I don't even know where to go now, Danny, because like I'm baffled by the amount of information, and like I told you, I'm plugged in now, 100%. So I don't know what my future holds as far as Geekletes and the gaming community, but I guarantee you, I'm locked in, man.
That's
so
awesome.
I mean, give me some more nuggets, man. I'm just gonna
sure.
let you. I'm gonna let
easy.
you go.
It's easy. Think about this. In times of COVID, there's no sports being performed in the physical setting.
Right.
Those same athletes are going to esports. So as an investor, your next investment is finding entities that are COVID proof. It ain't even recession proof no more. It's COVID proof, right?
Right.
So in this instance, now you're saying, what is COVID proof? My business is growing faster now than anything.
Wow.
I have more accessibility to athletes and artists now that they're not doing anything.
Yep.
Right? An individual, a 12-year vet in the NBA, flew here this morning to my space.
Wow.
His name is George Lynch. He popped up to my facility and said, man, I've seen you. I want to get involved. I have access to so many people.
Right.
It's an athlete, 12-year.
He just showed up.
Showed up.
You had no knowledge he was coming.
No knowledge. He sent me a text. Said, this is us. I want to come here. I didn't know who it was.
Right.
It said G Lynch. I didn't even think to research. He said, I'll be there. 6'8" dude pops out the car. I'm like, okay. Like, I still don't know. And then I research him after he leaves. And I'm like, this is interesting right now, right? So while nothing is going on, esports is still going on.
Yeah. Tournaments,
online gaming, everything is still going on. And I think this is the perfect time to be able to get involved in esports because it's corona. It's COVID-19 proof.
Right. Man, that's wild. To the fact that, even with it, they're wanting to come and see the facility and be a part of it.
Yeah.
And this is a current player.
It's a current, for sure.
Current player.
He retired, but it's like he's like
I gotta get in.
Gotta get in, And I think a lot of people have that same type of thought process, but they do not know how to get in.
Right.
And I think that's why it's very critical that I position myself to where when someone says, how do I get in esports? When they type in, how do I get in esports in Google, Geekletes should be popping up. Right. That's my ultimate goal. If it's not popping up, I am not doing my job. And right now, it's not popping up, right? So I have to go create something that goes into those SEOs to say, this is a thought leader. This is how you do it. And we're doing that with our masterclass courses. So if you go to geekletes.gg and if you go look at eSposure, you will see every single concept that we're going to be providing. And our first release is June 1st, and we're going to be releasing it to high schools. So if you're connected to high schools, colleges, this is your opportunity to be ahead of the curve in regards to esports and education. I break down things like what's the difference between esports industries and traditional sports industries.
Right.
I break down on how to be a marketer, how to market to brands and sponsors, how to invest, what are the investors looking for. I'm breaking down so many different concepts because I've had to experience them myself, right? And once I experience, I had to find someone on staff or employ someone that's much better at it to be able to do it, Wow. And I can break down all of those inside of the master. I have about 120 to 150 5-minute to 10-minute videos with assignments attached to them so you can be able to learn and you can be able to track your progress through a proprietary LMS learning module system.
Wow. Yo, that's bananas. I'm just gonna say it. I typically don't say banana, but that's mind-boggling, man. I gotta say, again, what you've done is great for the community, for sure. And I'm definitely gonna continue to be a part of that. But the fact that it presents so many opportunities, and I can't say this enough, for our teenagers, our adolescents.
Yes.
It presents a whole new avenue for them to be successful, right? And to get the information and education. And who knows what this is going to be, 10 to 15 years from now, and what they're going to be able to create just because of what you've established with Geekletes, man.
Yes.
It speaks volumes.
Yes, for sure.
Hands down. But I do agree with you that we have to tie back into the culture.
That you have to.
And to let them know that there is another way out.
Yeah, for
right?
Sure.
And that, it doesn't have to be what historically it has been, whether it was all, the negative means, you can apply yourself and get out.
You can.
You can, and it's very, very simple to do.
And this is the time now, because if you don't do it now, you're just going to be looked at as talent when you can be owner.
Right.
You get ahead of it in time, you be consistent, and you'll be in that same trajectory as which I'm feeling right now.
Right.
It's like, I'm glad I started this 10 years ago. Right? So just having that patience and perseverance and, understanding how to stretch a dollar, right? Stretching it. It's like figuring out how to stretch that dollar. If you do that too, you will be in the same position, because it's still early on. It's not too late. There's a lot of people that just don't understand it just yet. So understanding it now and being willing to invest in yourself and learn and engage. I'm trying to expedite individuals' processes, but I can only do so much.
Right.
It's going to take you going out there and really saying, how do I find a niche? And it takes getting into the community to find out what the community needs.
Right.
And once you find out what the community needs, you can create a product for that community, because now you're providing value to that community. And once you provide value to a community, rest is history.
Absolutely. Yo, so look, I gotta say, it's been a pleasure having you. I did not know what to expect with regards to gaming. I thought I knew, but apparently I did not know enough. But I gotta say, I thank you for the opportunity, and I'm gonna do my piece to continue to help you push this forward. So before we cut out of here, any last thing you want to give to the people?
Be open-minded. Times move really quickly. Businesses have had to pivot. And if you're not in a position to pivot, you then get left behind. And that's innovation. Innovations, you find Apples, your Microsofts, your Amazons, your Teslas. Right. You find all of these companies that understands the value of pivoting and innovation.
Yeah.
And our culture is super powerful. We have the drive, but sometimes we kind of get like comfortable,
right,
with where we're at, because everybody tells you you're doing good, so you don't need to be innovative anymore.
Right.
And then when it's time and somebody else is past you, now you're like, dang, you're trying to live in that past, and the world is going way faster than it. So, being open and being willing to innovate will keep you ahead, because you already have culture on your side.
Right. Man, that's great nuggets. So, this has been the Unapologetic Hustle. My guest today has been none other than Mr. Danny Martin, CEO and founder of Geekletes. Make sure that you go and follow. He is the embodiment of what I like to say. Be the change you want to see in your community. It's been great speaking with you, but we'll definitely have some more conversations. So
yeah, for sure.
For those of you that are tuned in, thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you come back next week, 12 to 1, right here, Fishbowl Radio Network, Facebook Live, the Unapologetic Hustle. So we'll see you then. Till next time, activate your hustle.
Yes.
Man.
Yes, sir. How you expect to be great, but your hustle don't match. Listen. I hustle overtime, attempt to push the culture forward. This that real shit, make a meal with that little gift. Everybody on a hustle, we can make a real shift. So keep your head up, youngin', and just keep on moving. And if you ain't hustling, then I don't know what you're doing. The time is now. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. Yeah. I gotta write my story. No, you can't have my glory. I'm taking all that's for me. Unapologetic.